Hotep, Hotep, High Priestess Maat and Maakheru Amen here. And I promise you I would be doing videos on the galactic tones. Now, this is a modern translation, right? So let me give you a reminder if you were looking at the video on the archetypes, right? So, as they say, Mayan, right? Which is really not Mayan, is the Olmec or the She people, right? Who put these cosmologies together. And so the part of, they had these multiple calendars, right? As you heard in the other video. If you haven't, here's a reminder, right? They had multiple calendars like the one that was a countdown calendar to 2012, and everybody was like, oh my God, we're gonna die, oh my goodness, right? So anyway, it didn't happen. It was just an indication of an ending of a time period going into another, right? So they had multiple calendars, just like the Dogon. Like I say, we do everything the same place all over the globe because we're everywhere on the globe. And so in this cosmology, there is a very sacred calendar called the Zocan. The Zocan is based off of 260 days. The significance of 260 days is twofold, right? First obvious one is 260 days is 9 months. All right, so our ancestors knew that it took approximately 9 months to incarnate into a physical form. And so every day of that 9 months of those 260 days is a specific expression of the Creator. And so they call it the 260 faces of God, in which each one of us came in as one of those expressions. So in my previous videos, I talked about the archetypes, right? So there are 20 archetypes. That's like deities, right? And then there are 13, we can call them cosmic personalities. We can call them attributes or roles or functions, right? Of those 20. And so when you pair them up, the 20 archetypes and the 13 tones, right? 13 times 20 is also 260. So that's the other significance. So these 13 tones, but let me tell you something else, how these tones also match up to the feminine system. Again, or we're talking about a birthing cycle. This is a little different than what we hear about there's those sayings, hey, before I was here, I was, a sperm. I was walking around with my father, right? So this one tells you how you walked around with your mother, right? Because it starts with 13 tones. Now, what's significant about that when it comes to the female system is that it takes 13 days for an egg to mature. So our ancient ancestors knew about both. They had balance, right? So they didn't just put everything on the male or put everything on the female, but they definitely did not leave out the feminine system and its importance in the birthing cycle, in the incarnation cycle. That is one of the functions, okay, of being in this form, right? And so 13 also represents a feminine cycle in that it takes 13 days for an egg to mature. You can look it up, you can Google it, okay? And then on 14th day, it's released. Here, we've also mapped out all of them 13 cycles, okay, the creation cycle, as they call it, to the same cycle that the egg takes. Okay, and so that's in our womb evolution technique. If you want to know more about the archetypes, you want to know more about the tones, we have classes, right, in our synchronistic human, on the synchronistichuman.com website, right? But you can get to it from Melanated Immortals. If you want to know more about this feminine cycle and how these things work together, that's our womb evolution technique, right? And you can check that out. Also, we have a course called the 13 tones, and it will slow it down and really have you understand how these things work. Okay, so in these series of videos, we're going to be talking about the 13 tones. Hopefully I explain what those tones are. Those are each of the cycles, right? The roles, the functions, or what we call the cosmic personalities or the galactic personalities that go along with the archetype. So if you looked at the first archetype video, right, and say you are the white wind. Oh, like me, right? Okay, so what tone did I come in on my expression? Well, I came in on tone number 8. And number 8 is the galactic tone of integrity. And you know, if you look at, if you listen to me long enough, you'll see how that whole the white galactic wind matches up with my name, Maat, and Maakheru Amen, right? And so the galactic tone of integrity. And so I'm gonna talk about us in a minute, though, because you know it sounds good, right? It sounds like, ooh, yes, oh, she's just so Maat and the galactic tone of integrity. But I'm gonna talk about us in a minute. Okay, so don't get mad. I'm just talking about me, right? I'm going to talk about the galactic tone, but I'm going to do it in order. So we're going to start at tone number 1, which is the magnetic tone. All right. And so stay tuned for the next video. I'll see y'all. Hotep.